All right, let's get right into it. There's this new company that just exploded onto the Hong Kong stock market, and I mean, its first day was something else. We're talking about a software unicorn called Manycore Tech, and their whole story is really about this massive, high-stakes bet on the future.
I mean, look at this number. On its very first day of trading, Manycore's shares just went ballistic, soaring up to 187%. Now, when you see a number like that, it obviously makes investors, and us, ask a pretty big question.
Right? Who is this company, and what is all this hype about? Well, the answer is super interesting because, honestly, it's not what you'd expect from the latest, greatest AI stock. This whole thing is a story about a company being forced to completely reinvent itself. So, to really get what Manycore is trying to do now, you gotta look at where they came from. And, believe it or not, this new darling of the AI world, well, it actually built its billion-dollar valuation in a totally different industry, real estate.
Yeah, so for more than 10 years, the heart of their business, where most of their money came from, was this tool called Kujale. It's this super popular interior design and home renovation software. You can go in and create these cool 3D models of your home. It was absolutely the perfect product for its time.
So here's the key. They got their start way back in 2013, and they were just perfectly positioned to ride this massive wave of China's booming property market. But here's the thing. By doing that, they didn't just build a successful software business. They were kind of accidentally creating this incredibly valuable asset, this massive, massive library of 3D data from every virtual home people were designing.
But then, well, the world changed. What made you a huge success in one decade doesn't always keep you alive in the next. And Manycore suddenly found itself getting squeezed from two different directions, forcing them to make a really radical change.
And it was pretty much a perfect storm. On one side, you had the Chinese government stepping in to cool down that overheated property market, which, put the brakes on their main business. And on the other side, the rise of generative AI, which one of the founders literally called an existential threat. The message was clear for every software company out there. Adapt, or you're going to become obsolete. So, what do? Your main market is drying up, and this new technology threatens to make your entire business irrelevant. Well, if you're Manycore, you do something incredibly audacious. You decide to pivot. You take your old secret weapon, all that 3D home data, and you use it to try and power the future.
And man, this quote from co-founder Huang Xiaohuang just nails their new vision. He's basically saying the next huge economic boom isn't going to be in property, it's going to be in robotics. And he's betting his company has one of the secret ingredients to unlock it all. Okay, so here's the game plan broken down into 3 steps. First, they take that unique asset we talked about, that gigantic library of 3D data. Second, they use all that data to train their own specialized AI models that can understand physical spaces. And third, and this is the really clever part, they sell that spatial intelligence to companies that are building robots. They're basically selling the experience a robot needs to learn about our world. Think about it, right? For a robot to learn how to move around a kitchen without smashing all the plates, it needs to practice in, like, millions of different kitchens. Manycore's data gives it a virtual training ground, a digital sandbox, where an AI can learn about the real world safely and super efficiently.
So, that's the big idea. But let's be real. Turning a company that helps you pick out kitchen cabinets into a powerhouse for AI robotics, that is a massive, massive gamble. The vision is incredible for sure, but the financial reality, it's a little more complicated.
If you peek at their numbers, you can see why this is such a huge bet. Their revenue growth has slowed way down to just under 9%. Now, on the flip side, their gross margin is a super impressive 82%. That's fantastic for a software company. But the bottom line, they're still in the red. They aren't actually profitable yet because they're pouring so much money into all this new development.
And you have to see just how ambitious this plan is. Right now, only about 10% of their money comes from this new AI business. Their goal? To get that number all the way up to 50%. They want to split their income right down the middle between the old software subscriptions and this new AI for robotics model. That is a huge transformation.
Which, brings us back to the one final critical question. This whole 187% IPO pop, this grand vision, this entire bet on a second act, it all comes down to one single belief, that the data from designing millions of virtual kitchens and living rooms can actually teach the robots of tomorrow how to see and understand our world. It's a playbook we're starting to see more and more in the age of AI. Companies realizing that their most valuable asset wasn't the product they were selling, but the data they were quietly collecting all along. This is, without a doubt, one of the boldest bets in tech right now. And honestly, only time is going to tell if it actually pays off.